Are you wanting to get your first accounting job without previous experience? You're at the right video. There's one job that's been ranked the most popular remote job, and that's accounting. Specifically, all the entry-level positions in accounting, such as bookkeeping, accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, and tax. Combined, there are hundreds of thousands of available positions because every single company needs to hire these people to be able to run their business. For most companies, you don't need to be in an office to do these jobs, which is why there are more remote job postings than any other type of job. Many companies are even hiring worldwide, so you don't need to be in the United States to land a job. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. I don't have an accounting degree. The great thing right now is that there is such a shortage of accountants and the position is so high in demand that companies have dropped their degree requirements for these positions since they don't have enough people to fill them. In this video, I'm going to be interviewing Terrell, who has worked in accounting for over 20 years, and he's now helping other people land entry-level jobs in accounting with no degree or previous experience. He's going to break down exactly what you need to know to land your first position and give you a step-by-step roadmap to follow. So stick around. You don't want to miss this opportunity. Hey, Terrell. So glad to have you here. Can you give some background around who you are?
Yeah, so a little bit about my background is, I went to school for accounting, started working in the corporate world of working for some of the world's largest companies in accounting and finance, and I worked for a couple of startups and helped them go through the process of raising money. And then after doing that for over 13 years and hiring people, making those type of leadership decisions, I decided to start my own firm. And so now I run my own accounting firm. We do bookkeeping and CFO kind of financial analysis for small and medium-sized businesses.
Okay, man, that's awesome right there. And so for someone who's just now looking to get in to this space, what are some entry-level jobs that exist in accounting?
Yeah, so some of the entry-level jobs are going to be things like bookkeeping. Some of it may be payroll specialists or billing and collections, and then also tax preparation, because that one is a huge one. Like, I am a CPA as well. Like, our firm, we don't focus on tax, but I talk to tons of accounting firms that are constantly looking for people who can do tax preparation. And the thing is, like, they're like, hey, they don't necessarily need to have a ton of experience. As long as they're willing to learn and understand some of the basic skills, we can teach them the rest.
So that's quite a few that people have to choose from. Now, are these jobs in demand at the moment? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so right now, a lot of companies are really struggling to find talent. And before, it used to be, well, if you didn't go to college and you didn't get a degree in accounting, you can probably hang it up. You probably aren't going to get looked at. But over the past couple of years, we've been seeing this massive change because right now there's probably about 156,000 accounting jobs that are not being filled right now, just because there aren't enough people to fill them. Plus, when you add on top of that, less people are going to college and getting an accounting degree. And then the third thing is about 35% of the people who do have accounting experience are over the retirement age. So when you combine all three of those things, there's like a desperate need for accounting. And some people are saying, like, AI is going to solve it, but AI may solve 15% of the problem, which means there's still going to be thousands and thousands of accounting jobs that need to be filled. And more companies are starting to say, we no longer require you to have a degree. You just need to have some of the basic skills and understanding, and we'll hire you.
So that's all I was hearing, just a lot of upside on this side of accounting and the business world for someone looking to get a role here. So with that, earlier you mentioned bookkeeping as one of the roles that people could get in entry level. What do bookkeepers do?
Yeah, so bookkeepers, a big picture of things is they're helping businesses understand like the money that's coming in, the money that's going out, because there's so many different transactions that are going on, whether it's through the bank account, credit card, and stuff. So usually what they have is some level of understanding about an accounting system, and they're just classifying those transactions, kind of sorting it out so that the people who are making decisions, the people who are running the business can get a better understanding on, okay, how much money came in and how much money went out and what did we spend the money on. And so they're kind of help organizing. There's, vast number of transactions that are flowing through the bank accounts.
Definitely needed there for sure. Who would be a good fit? Like, who's someone that's a good fit for a career in bookkeeping?
Yeah, so when it comes down to bookkeeping, and I say this even as a person, like in my own firm, like we have 8 employees in our firm, and I'm hiring bookkeepers and hiring accountants. And I say this one is not someone who's just observing, but someone who actually, makes hiring decisions, even in my own firm and talking to other firms. And some of the common things that, we're looking at when we're hiring, and some of the common things that other firms are looking at is, people who have organization skills, meaning like they can actually look at a bunch of data and then just be like, okay, all right, how do we organize, sort this out to make this clear? Because again, part of the job of a bookkeeper is you're looking at all these bank transactions that come through, and we got to kind of organize it, make sense of it. And then also someone who's willing to learn, because all of the technical stuff that you need to do in bookkeeping, all that stuff can be learned. I mean, some of it you can learn from a YouTube video on some of the technical things, like how to use this software and stuff like that. So they have to have an openness to learn. And then they do need to have a basic understanding of accounting, which that one, like I said, if there is a good training program they go through, they can learn that in less than 3 weeks, if they're willing to put that effort in to learn some of those basics of accounting. So if they have organization skills, they're willing to learn and put the effort in, those are 2 of the biggest things that I'm hearing companies say. That's what we need in a bookkeeper. Everything else we can teach you if you have those 2 things.
So Terrell, so we have that, but what about people who are introverted? Like, is this a good role for introverts? Or
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's the good thing about accounting is so versatile now, to where there are a ton of people who are in the field of accounting because they're introverted. They want to work from home. They just want to do their part, and then they just want to move on to the things that they love and care about. And there's a space for that. And then there are some people who they're a little bit more extroverted, and they say, well, I don't want to just be behind my computer all the time. And it's like, well, there's space for you in accounting and bookkeeping for that, because the people who are more extroverted tend to do more of some of the client facing stuff, meaning like you meet with a client to explain what the numbers mean. But then you have people who are introverted. They're like, I really don't want to meet with any clients. I just want to do the work. And there's a space for that, because there, as I said, there's a lot of organization that goes into the role of bookkeeping. You're doing the work in the background, and then you hand it off to someone on the team who does want to actually meet with clients. So I think that there's space in the accounting field for both of those, and there's still a desperate need for both.
I know there are people who are hearing that and they're like, yes, good, for both sides, right? You mentioned earlier that, a lot of companies, they're like, hey, we're looking for people who are coachable. They're even taking down the fact that if you don't have a degree, do you need a degree to land a job in bookkeeping?
Absolutely not. And I say that very assuredly, because I hire and I pay people who don't have a degree. Like when they applied for the job, I mean, even during some of the interviews, some of them, they brought that up about, well, I don't have a degree, or maybe they studied, accounting in another country. And I'm like, I have no idea what the rules are in that country. I really don't care, because the skills I need are organization, which are universal, and are you willing to learn? Because I can teach you the rest. And a lot more companies are looking at that, because they realize that, to the most part, like a lot of times the computer programs are doing a lot of the technical things in the background. You just have to have, again, the organization and the willingness to learn. So I think a lot more companies are starting to say, hey, you really don't need a college degree to actually do this. Plus, on top of that is there aren't enough people graduating from college to fill the roles, so they just can't hold that requirement anymore.
That makes perfect sense there. So, with someone looking to land their first job in bookkeeping, what does someone need to do to be able to land that job? Like you've hired, multiple people. What would they need to do?
The easiest thing is use any search engine and just search for bookkeeping jobs. And what they'll probably find is there's probably going to be 15,000 plus jobs that pop up in the list. And the easiest way is just apply to some of those jobs because those companies are already looking for someone to fill those roles. And then other things that they can do, whether it's getting on platforms like LinkedIn and building out like a professional profile and just put out there like I am looking for a bookkeeping role. And I think as you start to put that out there, what you'll notice is that there are a lot of people that you probably know in your network who knows of a company who's looking for a bookkeeper. And there are a lot of companies who are constantly looking for bookkeepers. And I think the best thing that you need to do is really actually, use a search engine. You can look on any job board, just search for bookkeeping jobs. You'll see a ton that are open. You can apply and then get on, social media platforms like LinkedIn and just put it out there that that's what you're looking for. And then I think the more important thing outside of those is you can get the basic skills that you need. Now, I may be biased in this, but I created a course with CourseCareers, and it walks you through all the basics that you need to know about accounting. And it makes you realize that accounting is not as scary as people think it is. But in the course, like I just lay out, here are the basic things you need to know and give some examples and practice problems that people can look at. And I mean, it will give you the basic skills that you need to be effective in it. And I say that as one as I've taken my team has gone through that same training of people that I've hired to where I think out of the 8 employees that I've hired, only 2 of them actually have a degree. The other ones don't have a degree in accounting, and they didn't need it to be successful because, hey, you can learn the stuff you need to be successful in the job.
Oh man, love that. And so someone who did just maybe get there or they're looking to get that first role, how much could somebody make in that first bookkeeping job? Like what's the range there?
Yeah, so when you're looking at bookkeeping jobs, it may vary a little bit by state, but I've seen some people start as much as 40,000 a year up to kind of like the mid 50,000 a year for landing a job in accounting. And like I said, that may vary depending on what part of the US you're in or what part of the US the company is in, because that's the other thing is the job doesn't have to be in the city or the state that you're in. Like there are a ton of remote opportunities when it comes down to bookkeeping. So really, where is the job that you're applying for? And that area and that geography may impact like what the starting salary range could look like.
That makes sense. Someone in California or New York, that might not be the same as somebody in, I don't know, Idaho or something like that. So that makes perfect sense there.
That becomes a really good thing for people if you are in a smaller state or a lower cost region. A lot of people are taking advantage of that, of finding remote bookkeeping jobs in New York or in California, because they're able to give themselves a little bit of a raise by working for a company that's in a higher cost area, but still living in, like, say, Idaho or Arkansas or Mississippi. And I think it's a great opportunity for people to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that sounds like the perfect blend there. What's a good career path look like for someone who is starting out as a bookkeeper? Like, can this lead to making over $100,000 a year?
Yeah, I think it definitely can put you on that path for that. And the way I would tell someone is you're starting off as a bookkeeper, your most likely next position is going to be probably a senior accountant or a accounting analyst, where you're doing a little bit more detail, doing a little bit more technical after you get maybe 2 to 3 years of experience. And at that point, what I would say is, right now, companies tend to look for people who have a degree to go beyond that, to make it to like the manager level and above. But the good thing is, if you've been working at a company, especially at that level, because so many companies are struggling to find people who have the degree in the background, one is they're starting to relax that even at the manager level, or what the companies are willing to do is they'll pay for you to get the education that you need to be able to qualify for those accounting manager level and above. And once you kind of get around the accounting manager level and up, you're moving into the 90,000, six-figure and up range, depending on the size of company that you're working with.
Oh man, so love that. There's a lot of people, they're in positions right now and they're looking for something else to get into. But right now, where they're at, they don't have a career path that they can that trajectory into. So for them to have something like that in this, it's looking really good here. You mentioned earlier, I wanted to kind of circle back around to this. So you mentioned earlier that you created an accounting course with CourseCareers. What made you choose to make that course with them?
Yeah, so when CourseCareers reached out and they told me about what they were doing, I was like, this is great, because I travel around the country and speaking at different accounting conferences and different business conferences. And one of the big things that I was hearing is, hey, this shortage in accounting professionals is hurting our company and is hurting the industry as a whole. And I'm like, well, you know, I can't really do much about getting more people to go to college and major in accounting. Like, that's just not, I'm not in that space. But I was like, what I could do is help people develop the skills that they need to land some of those, entry level jobs. Now, I run a couple of companies. Like I said, I run my own accounting firm, plus I run a media company. So I'm like, I don't have the time to build out an entire program and an entire course and training system. And so when CourseCareers reached out, I'm like, it's a great marriage, because they know what they're doing as far as being able to, administer the learning process. And I know the content and I know how to teach it. So when we kind of combine those together, then it gives people an opportunity to see accounting as a potential field that they can go into without having to spend thousands of dollars and going in tons of debt to go to college. And the truth of the matter is, not everybody who goes to college and studies accounting actually gets a job in accounting. So to avoid, getting, thirty to $100,000 in debt, depending on where you go to school, it's like, this was just a much better opportunity. Plus, I think working with CourseCareers is I could take out all of the fluff that you really don't need, because I'll be honest, I went to undergrad, I got a master's degree in accounting, took me 5 years, and it probably cost over $150,000. It probably could have been cut down to 1 year to really give me the stuff that I really needed. So that's what I was able to do with CourseCareers, and say, hey, I don't need to take them through all the extra fluff. We can boil it down to what do they really need, and we can do it at a very cost-effective way to get people ready to hit the ground and be successful in an accounting career.
Oh man, no, I love that, because I know there are a lot of people that you just helped in this interview alone, because like there are people who the only thing that they can think of when they think of accounting is I need a degree. So for you to break that barrier in the manner that you're doing it, with the course, I know this is going to help so many people. It's not even funny. So this is great. Earlier, you did mention some of the things, but what does your accounting course actually teach inside?
Yeah, so the first one, we really break down like what is accounting, and what role does accounting play in any type of for-profit, nonprofit, or any type of organization. Like, even if a person wanted to pursue a job in government, like, what role does accounting play in those organizations? So people can kind of understand what is accounting. Because I think sometimes people have this misconception that accounting is all only about tax. And I'm like, that's not necessarily the case. There is so much more to it. So we break that down, and then we break down the fundamentals around, the financial statements, like how to read them, how to understand them. And one of the things that I do is I break it down to understanding financial statements the same way you would watch a movie. So the same way we break down and we understand movies, and I spent some time around, some Hollywood writers and directors to understand how they make movies. And I explain the financial statements in the same way that they make movies because it helps people understand that. And then we get into some of the technical skills that you need to understand about how accounting actually works. And so we break that down. And then we wrap up the course where we go through 4 distinct career paths, from the payroll specialist, billing and collections, a bookkeeper, and a tax preparer. And we go in detail of what you need to know to be successful in any or all 4 of those roles. So it gives people who go through the course more options about career paths.
Yeah, so basically everything someone needs who is an entry level person looking to get a role in one of those paths, they're going to get everything in this one.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Terrell, would someone without a degree or experience, right, would they be able to land a job after this course?
Absolutely. I definitely think so, because what we put in the course is really breaking down the basic skills and understanding that they need to have to do the actual job. And I've even had conversations with other firms. And one of the things that we've been talking around, multiple firms, because I also run a podcast where I've interviewed over 500 different business owners. And one of the things that I tend to ask about, like, what do you look for when you're hiring? And for a while, a lot of people are just like, well, you had to have a degree. But now people are really like, do you actually understand the content of the job? And that's what the course gives you. It gives you an understanding of the content of what it means to do the job of accounting. And so anyone who goes through the course, at the end of it, we have this section called interview prep, where we actually go through, these are the types of questions you need to be prepared for if you want a tax preparer job or if you want a bookkeeper job. Like, we actually go through the literal questions that people are asked in interviews and prepare them for that. And by being able to speak to that because you went through the course, it can definitely set you up for success in landing a job in accounting.
Terrell, you gave us everything in this one, man. I don't think I don't think they're going to leave this one with any other question than, if someone wants to learn more about the course and the career in accounting, what do they need to do next?
Yeah, so if they want to learn more about the course and the career, I think they need to go over to CourseCareers and take advantage of the free course that we put out there, because, all of this stuff is great and people may be like, but I'm still not sure. Well, there's a free course that you can sign up for, and it's a 3-part where we go in a little bit more detail. We actually show you some of the content of what the learning experience is going to be like. And so if you sign up for that free course, you can check out all of that and get a better understanding to really come to the conclusion that, hey, this is the right course, this is the right opportunity, and you'll have a better understanding of what you're stepping into. And I actually explain the opportunity in the field of accounting in a lot more detail. And I actually go through and show you a lot of the job openings, some of the skills, and the things that are literally on the job postings, so you know exactly what to expect. And a lot of that is in the free course. And then once you finish the free course, you can make that decision to then purchase the full course to really learn the skills to take advantage of the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Terrell. This was great. I know they got a lot out of this one, and people are probably heading over right now to go ahead and see what that intro course is talking about. So with that, man, thank you so much. Did you have any last words for someone before we get out of here?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, when it comes down to accounting, I mean, the opportunity is going to continue growing and growing because, as I briefly talked about, I mean, right now, companies are struggling to find people and it's across many industries. Like, I mean, one of the more recent example, even like the San Francisco 49ers got penalized in the last NFL draft because of a payroll calculation error. And the reason why they said it happened is because they didn't have enough people in the accounting department to catch it. And I'm just like, so many different companies are struggling with this, from entertainment to tech companies to manufacturing companies, and all across the board there's so much opportunity. So I think accounting is a great place for people to really pursue a new career opportunity that has a lot of upside.
Well, y'all heard it, guys. If you want to land an entry level accounting job in bookkeeping or any of the others that Terrell mentioned without any previous experience or degree, you can go through Terrell's course in accounting. I'm going to link to the entry level course down below in the description, and that's going to teach you everything that you need to know about what working in accounting is like and how the course works. So, with that said, we'll see you in the next one.